Hi, and welcome to Female Entrepreneurs Magazine, your go to platform for ambitious women who are ready to take the business world by storm. I'm your host, Angel France, and each week we'll dive into the latest strategies, stories, and success secrets from the most inspiring female entrepreneurs around the world. Whether you're just starting out or scaling up, this is your space to connect, learn, and grow alongside a community of trailblazing women who, just like you, they are making their mark in the world of business. From personal branding to powerhouse marketing, from leadership to lifestyle tips, we've got you covered. So get ready to ignite your passion, fuel your purpose, and unlock your potential with Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. Let's make this journey together and turn your entrepreneurial dreams into reality. Hi, and welcome to The Real Female Entrepreneurs. Our next guest is a Wall Street Journal best-selling author, keynote speaker, strategist, and an award-winning podcaster dedicated to empowering women through leadership and self-confidence. As the founder of the Tao of Self-Confidence podcast with over 1 million downloads and 800 plus interviews, she has become a global voice for inspiring women to rise into leadership roles and embrace their true potential. Her best-selling book and impactful training programs continue to transform lives, bridging the gender confidence gap one success story at a time. Let's roll out that red carpet and give a warm, confidence boosting welcome to the incredible Sheena Yap Chan. Welcome.
Hey, Angel, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here, and thank you for such a great introduction. I'm really honored.
You're so sweet. I really need you to explain what Tao means and if I'm
Yeah,
saying it right.
yeah, for sure. So it is originally Dao, but now Tao's also been accepted. But really, when I was working on my podcast and I was trying to find a title for it, I checked out Apple iTunes because that's when podcasts were back in the day, way, way back in the day. I was looking for possible titles, and I kept seeing the art of, and I was like, okay, that's cool, but I wanted to have something also with something tied to my culture, being Asian, and so the word Tao came out. And then I looked for the meaning. It means the way, so the way to self confidence, and each person's way is different. There's so many different ways to build confidence. There's no one way of doing it. So being able to interview over 800 women, I can share over 800 different ways to build confidence.
That is true. So, what inspired you to become the female entrepreneur that you are today? And then we'll get into what made you start podcasting as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, it was just really important to do something different and forge my own path, even if it was scary. I remember my aunt passed away about 13 years ago from a horrific accident. That was actually one of the reasons why I decided to just do something for myself. I didn't want to leave this earth with regrets. Like if I died tomorrow, I literally have no regrets. I've done everything I could have ever possibly want. And that's good and bad in some cases. But I mean, being able to see her do everything in her 50s, whether it was scuba diving, rock climbing, I mean, most people would tell her not to do it because she's too old, but she went for it anyways, and be able to live a life that most 20 and 30-year-olds would dream of. So, and then also growing up in Toronto and not seeing anybody in the media that looked like me, I was always ashamed of my own culture. I wanted to have blonde hair and blue eyes to feel accepted. And so I always wanted to create representation. And I knew that if I wanted the representation I craved for, it really had to start with myself, even if I had no clue what I was doing.
I agree with the blonde hair, blue eyes. Red hair, brown eyes just didn't cut it, you know? I understand that. So, what got you into podcasting? So, you started your own entrepreneurial journey. What got you into podcasting specifically?
I think I've always wanted to inspire people and create a platform. And I didn't know what it looked like back then. I mean, I know blogging was big, but like I know it wasn't having a blog. It had to be something different. And so, someone mentioned podcasting and I didn't even know what a podcast was. I literally had to look it up. I invested in a course to help me like even set it up. And when I looked into podcasting and what it was, I really loved the concept of just listening to audio at any given moment and being able to download them at any given moment. Especially as women, we're very busy, right? If you're a mother, you're doing like 10 million things at once. So being able to have something in the background will help. And yeah, and part of the reason why I created a podcast was because I was dealing with my own confidence issues too. So I wanted to create a support system because I couldn't find any. And then also create better representation because media wise, we were still very, non existent. So I went for it. I started it. I had no clue what I was doing, but I'm still here today, almost 10 years.
10 years? Wow. That is a long time. How so starting 10 years ago, I mean, that was on the cutting edge.
Yes, there wasn't that many Asian people even podcasting. There was one person that was doing it. It was a guy from California, and because of him, I said, "Okay, I'm gonna go for it. If there's at least one person doing it, then I'm gonna go ahead and do it." And so, to me, that's why representation is important. You just need to see one person doing it, knowing what's possible, and that person can pave the way for others.
Tell us about your courses as well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have always asked me about different things, whether it's podcasting, confidence, um, publishing, or writing. And so I have different courses for that, whether it's confidence, strengthening confidence, because I think we were all born with confidence. It's just that sometimes life gets in the way, we have outside forces that tell us that we're not good enough, we can't do it. And when really we're more than capable. So sometimes just reigniting that muscle is really important to strengthen it so we can move forward. I also have people who ask me how to start a podcast, so I created a course about that. And if people want, marketing advice, I also do that as well, right? Because a lot of people write books, but forget to do the most important thing, which is to market your book, be visible, put it out there. It's important to market your book. There's a reason why the Bible is the oldest and most popular book in the world because till this day it's still being promoted. Whether you go to Sunday mass, whether someone is, sharing a verse in the Bible, I mean, you get to see it at least once a week, right? Especially if you're a Catholic. So those are some of the courses I offer.
I love that analogy. That is so true, though, because it is the oldest book. I love that. And what about the fact that you have the courses? They're all related to confidence. That everything you just said is related to confidence, and
Yes.
that seems to be a struggle for women.
Yeah, I mean, it is a struggle, right? Confidence is something we go through. It's the reason why I wrote my second book, Bridging the Confidence Gap, because women face a huge confidence gap from men. And because of that, we're not in leadership roles. And I understand that as women, we get more flack for sure. There's a lot of gaps that still happen today. But sometimes we also have to realize like it's up to us to make things happen too, right? And we're gonna have to work 10, 20, 100 times harder too because of the biases we still go through. So, um, you know, that's why I wrote the book. That's why I focus on confidence. And confidence is not just women who deal with it, men with it too, men deal with it too, especially the workplace, right? There was a report saying that only 9% of the workforce labor have the confidence, reach their full potential. So, sorry. So if only 9% reach their potential, what about the other 90%?
I love that analogy because that is just such a true analogy that we there's a percentage there that you can actually quote and there's stats that actually push that through so we can understand what's going on.
Yeah, for
So
sure. So, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, go for it. Go for it.
And I was just saying that's why confidence is so important. In anything we do, we definitely need confidence, right? We need to realize our capabilities, our abilities to go out there and know that we can make it happen, even if we have no clue how we're going to start it.
Definitely. And then talking about not knowing how to do stuff, this is a question that most people struggle with. How do you balance the demands of running your business and also a personal life.
Yeah, I mean, I guess mine is a little bit different. I don't have kids, I don't have a partner, like a husband. So, I mean, I have a little bit more time. Of course, when things happen, like my sisters will call me for stuff, my parents will call me for stuff. But I also set time for myself, right? Self-care and self-love is important. Creating a self-care routine is really important. And so we have to set some time, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, because if we're just on the go, go, go and taking care of everybody else except for ourselves, our energy gets depleted and we're not going to feel good, right? Because we're always thinking that we always have to keep on going, not knowing we can stop, we can take some rest. So I know each and every person has a different situation, but being able to set aside a self-care routine or self-care routine is really important, even if it means like watching something on YouTube for 5 minutes or taking a 5-minute walk, it's better than not having any, right? So, I think that's so important, and it helps us even more when we can find that time to relax and ju juggle everything. I mean, people always ask me, "How do you achieve balance?" And, like, I don't even know, like, work-life balance, and I'm like, "I don't even know what that means," because if you're looking for a 50-50 work-life balance, I mean, that's just unattainable, right? Because things happen. Sometimes it's 2027, 2080, or 40-60, because every single day is different. And so I think balance is whatever looks like what it looks like for you. So if you have help, that's great. If not, we do our best to make things happen.
So I'm glad you brought up a few things. And I'm going to just be blunt with you and just be honest with you. I'm about 50-50 of people having children and not having children in the female entrepreneurial world. I don't have any children personally myself. I raised my husband's grandson, so I attract a lot of females that don't have children, and I can relate to them 100% and understand what they're going through, and they still need that balance, which I love how you said it is hard to create for the simple reason that we might have something that has to come out and be like our magazine. When it's go time, it's go time. Don't look at me, don't breathe on me, don't do anything. Oh, why are you calling me? Correct. I need a break from everything. That is the only way things are going to transpire. So I love the fact you were honest and said that. Now, my women with children, they are like, balance? What in the world is that? I love that they're honest too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's important to share these things because I mean, people are trying to search for something that's like totally unattainable. And so if we're just more honest about, sometimes we're gonna have to work on our business 100% because maybe there's a launch coming or you have a new product or you're pivoting. And then the other time it's like, well, I just booked vacation with my family, so all my time's gonna be with them. So that's okay, right? Because you get to choose how you want to live your life.
Yeah. And that's why we're female entrepreneurs, because we get to live the life that we want. Just like your aunt, you talked about your aunt. That was a great analogy of why you actually started becoming a female entrepreneur, is because you wanted that freedom.
Yes.
So what advice do you have for other women that are trying to maybe just start a business?
I think starting is really the most important because I know starting is the hardest. I've been there. I know how hard it is to start something new. I know as a woman, I tend to overthink and think of the worst case scenario. But sometimes you just gotta start, make mistakes, and pivot along the way. And the best part is you don't have to do everything alone. It's okay to look for support, to look for help, to look for advice so that you can avoid the mistakes other entrepreneurs have been through. So, whether it's listening to this podcast, reading books, checking out other podcasts, or attending conferences, be okay to do that as well. Like, as I know, as a woman, we feel like we have to be the superwoman of everything and do everything ourselves, but we don't have to, right? Like we can ask for help and there's no shame in that. I think sometimes as women there's so much shame that's put on us even though we're not at fault for it, and we need to dismantle that, like it's okay to seek help. It's okay to say you can't do it all because men don't, so why should we? So, yeah.
You're saying that in one of the other reigning things that have happened, that have come across, is the fact that the women who are getting the most done is the ones that have a tribe and they find other people to delegate to, because maybe that's not what they're best at. What are they best at? That gives you the most confidence as well to do those things.
For sure. So I had to learn that the hard way. When I realized collaboration was like so much faster, I was like, why didn't I do this? And culturally, we've always been told asking for help is a sign of weakness or we're asking for a handout, but it's not. Like, you're not going to know everything. And wouldn't it be better if you connect with someone who's more of a professional in that certain area? If like graphic designing isn't your thing, then find someone who's better at it. And then you can focus on your real magic, whatever that may be.
Love the magic because we all have it, but we just have to be true to ourselves in finding that magic. All right. What about women that are already female entrepreneurs? They've been around a little bit like you, and that might be struggling or coming into some doubting themselves a little bit. What would be a suggestion you have for them?
Yeah, I mean, my first book, The Tao of Self-Confidence, I talk about the importance of working through our unresolved trauma to show up as our best self. And so sometimes we go through doubt because there's something in our past life that we're traumatized by that we feel like because of that situation, it's hard for us to move forward. Whatever happened 10 years ago is not going to happen today. So it's really important to be aware of it, learn to work through it or heal from it so that you can have the confidence to keep moving forward. And it doesn't mean you're going to have 100% confidence because I'm sure you might have more than one trauma that you're working through, and that's totally okay. But the more you can work through it, heal through it, your confidence will start coming up more and more. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're carrying the traumas of our parents and grandparents and so on. So intergenerational trauma is very prevalent. And so it's also important to ask, your family members, anything that's happened in their life. And I know that's not easy because I come from a culture where they don't, our elders will never tell us what they've gone through. They think if as long as they don't talk about it, it never happened. But of course it happened, right? Because there will always be signs that will trigger us. So, um, you know, find the root cause as to why you're feeling doubt, why you're not feeling good, or why you're feeling low self-confidence. And that maybe that trauma in your life is really what's causing it. Like for me, I failed kindergarten for coloring outside the lines. And so that went on to like my adult life thinking I was a constant failure, not realizing only one person failed me for coloring outside the lines. And really it wasn't I didn't fail. It was just a sign that I was meant to do something different. I was meant to color outside the lines.
You're creative.
Yes.
You're the female entrepreneur you are. That's okay. That's who we are, right?
For sure.
So, knowing what you've learned in business, what would you go back and what advice would you give that 18-year-old self?
I think the one piece of advice I would tell my 18-year-old self is to let her know that it's okay to make mistakes. Like sometimes your mistakes are your greatest opportunities. I know sometimes that most women want to have like the perfect the perfect launch, the perfect product, the perfect strategy, and because we want everything to be 110% perfect, it just delays us. So sometimes you just have to just go for it, make mistakes, and course correct as you go. So that's something I would tell my younger self that your greatest mistakes could also be your greatest opportunities because being an entrepreneur is about solving problems. And we won't know how to solve the problem if we can't go through the problem ourselves, right? So all these things happen for a reason.
Course correcting and solving the problem is key. And we do it all day long. I do it all day long. I don't know if you do. I do it.
Totally.
All right, we went back. Let's go forward a little bit. Do you mind giving us some tips on how you specifically plan for the new year?
um, right now, I'm gonna take a break, kind of like write down some of the goals that I want, the strategies I want to take, and just learning to rest. Because sometimes we're always on the go, go, go. We forget to just rest, right? And just be in the moment. We always feel like we have to get the next thing. And then when we get that thing, it's the next one, and not realizing sometimes we just need a pause, need a break, need to just mind dump our stuff and then just plan ahead what we want in our life. What are some of the goals you want to achieve? Maybe create a vision board. I always write things down on a piece of paper and I kind of remind myself what I want so that, there's something magical when you write things on a piece of paper. I don't know if you felt that way, but I do. And it just makes things come to life more. I don't know. There's just some magic in it. And there's been studies about that as well.
So I have, just so you know, I have written down my top 5 things I want to focus on for this year. And then from there, what I do, like you said, is I actually take a vision board and implement those things back in there, because even though it's 5 things, it might be 10 other things associated with one of those things. So that's how I do it. So I love the fact that we're doing the same exact thing and resting or trying to figure out what the next step is for yourself.
Yes.
All right. I know you have one New Year's goal in mind so far for 2025. Do you mind sharing one?
Yeah, I mean, my next book is coming out, Bridging the Confidence Gap, and so for me, I want it to be a bestseller again, I want it to be seen by every woman, be read by every woman and man out there because there's not a lot of female authors out there, and in order for us to have more female authors, we have to be the one to show everybody what's possible. So the book is available for pre-order at any book retailers like Barnes and Nobles, Amazon. So being able to write this book um, was really an honor because, the main reason why I wrote it was because the World Economic Forum mentioned that gender parity is going to be achieved at the earliest in the year 2154. But now that we're towards the end of the year or the beginning of 2025, they mentioned now the earliest is 2158. So now we went back 4 more years. And that's at the earliest. And at the rate we're going, I feel like it's going to take longer. When you see women in Afghanistan not being able to speak in public, sing in their own home, be seen in public, I mean, that sets us back so many years. And, I believe that if one country can do that, imagine how many more would want to do that. So this is why it's a big problem and we need to fix it as much as we can. Nothing's going to happen overnight, of course, but being able to write books about how we can have more confidence, how we can stand in our power, how we can do things like promote ourselves, because I know self promotion is something that women feel like is icky when it's not. It's actually empowering and stepping into your confidence era, right? Um, so yeah, I'm really excited about this book. So anyone watching, it's available for pre-order, and yeah, just really excited about that. That's my one goal.
And you mentioned marketing yourself. That is by far one of the biggest struggles that women have
Oh
in
yeah.
business.
For sure. I mean, there's been surveys and reports saying the number one thing that women have a problem with is marketing, sharing themselves, putting themselves out there. And so I make it my mission to always promote myself, to show others it's okay, because sometimes we feel like we need permission when we don't. We have more than enough to go out there and make it happen. And I would say you look at the Barbie movie and how much marketing it got or it did, and because of all the marketing it did, it led to the first billion-dollar movie that was solely directed by a woman. So, and that because for so long Hollywood thought women weren't bankable, and yet here's a movie about a doll that made over $1 billion.
It's true. That is true. And you know what? So, talking about marketing, what is one key strategy that has helped you scale your business that people said, oh, you don't want to do that? That wouldn't work. And you did it anyway, and it did.
For me, it's, just utilizing social media. LinkedIn is one of my favorite platforms. So, just kind of focusing on that really helped me, especially if you're a professional. It's the number one professional site. It's not just about resumes, it's about being a thought leader, being able to share your thoughts to an audience of professionals. That's actually the only social media I pay for. So it's my favorite. If there was only one social media platform in the world, I would like LinkedIn would be the one I would always choose.
So, beyond your book, Bridging the Confidence Gap, which is coming out when? What month?
May of 2025. So, but it's available for pre-order, so anyone can pre-order at right now.
Okay, awesome. So besides that book, what else is some future plans that you have coming out for next year?
I'm gonna be doing some speaking. So I got a couple events in Canada and the US. It's also important as women to have more women speakers out there. If you look at the ratio, it's still like, 70-30, I think. I'm just think that's just a wild guess, right? And so we
Right.
definitely need more women out there on stages showing them that we can be great speakers, we can be paid for our worth. And so those are some of the things on the horizon. So, um, pretty excited, and of course, it's always scary, right? We never know what's gonna happen, but, I think it's important to embrace the unknown and just go for it. Life's so short.
So if you had superpower for one day, what would it be?
Oh, I already know, teleport. That's it. That's the only superpower I ever want is to teleport.
And where would you teleport to and what would you do?
Everywhere, everywhere. I'd teleport to the beach. I teleport to the Philippines to see my family. I teleport to like different places in Europe to eat good food. Because like in Paris, you can eat all the bread that you want and you don't even feel bloated, right? So it's like, what's the secret? So, and I love carbs, so it's like a win-win.
I have a carb fetish too, so I get it. All right. What's one fact about you that not a lot of people know about?
Oh my gosh. One fact that people might so when I was a child, I actually had a huge Cinderella obsession. Like I would literally watch Cinderella every single day. And when my aunt got married, I was a flower girl for her wedding. And when they were about to exchange vows, I actually went up on stage and started singing Cinderella to everybody out there. My mom was too embarrassed to get me, so my aunt had to get me because my mom was pregnant with my little sister. But yeah, it's on Betamax somewhere. Thank God Betamax doesn't exist anymore. So yeah,
That is one of the cutest stories I have ever heard.
thank you.
So, besides your two amazing books, what is your favorite book?
I mean, I've read a lot of self-help books, and I don't think I can pick one because each and every like self-help or self-develop personal development book I've read, like it really helped me just um expand my mindset, see things from a different perspective. I mean, one of the books I did enjoy reading was Crazy Rich Asians. I read all three books. And for me, that was important. Seeing that book become a blockbuster movie was huge because there was hardly any movies highlighting um, Asians, especially in a title like Crazy Rich Asians. So to see that, that was amazing. I remember watching that movie for the first time in the theater. I cried out of happiness because I was like, "Finally, a movie about us."
I I cry a lot at movies, so I totally get the cry thing. All right. What is your go-to song that gets you moving and grooving or songs?
I love listening to K-pop. It's really great. Like, and BTS is one of my favorite groups, I think, because especially during the pandemic, their music was just very healing. And if you ever decode or translate their lyrics, it's actually very deep and it talks about their vulnerabilities. So it's really great to see that. And also, I love songs that like pump me up, especially like like helps me like just seize the day. So yeah.
Or what about a favorite quote?
Favorite quote, oh my God, I have so many. Um, I think for me, it's just like, um, just go for it, basically, just go for it. Why not? Like, I think that's really important because sometimes as women, we try to overthink, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? And I just say just do it regardless of the outcome, right? We don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna lead to something else. So yeah.
How do you stay motivated?
I think having a support system is really important, the right support system who understands what I go through, having friends to talk to, listening to positive audio, or watching even like interviews on YouTube that are very inspiring, that really helps me. People think in entrepreneurship you have to do everything yourself, but you don't. Like having a support system can go a long way. And it's really important, especially when there's decisions to be made. Like my first book, I almost didn't write. I almost said no to writing it because I thought I wasn't the person to talk about leadership because I didn't know anything about leadership. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about if I don't even know what that looks like. And so if it wasn't for the support system I had who encouraged me to write it, I wouldn't be here today.
Support systems are key. What is the best way for our audience to connect with you in your business?
Yeah, for sure. You can check out my website, sheenayapchan.com. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. If you go through my website as well, I have a free quiz that will unlock your self confidence personality. So it's a free quiz. You can also check out the podcast, The Tao of Self Confidence, on all major podcast platforms. You can also check out my books, The Tao of Self Confidence and Bridging the Confidence Gap. They're available to order for on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Indigo, and every other book retailer out there. And if you forgot anything that I mentioned, just Google my name, Sheena Yap Chan. I'm the only Sheena Yap Chan on the internet.
So, is there anything else you want to share with our audience that we didn't discuss today?
I think you've covered everything. I think I would just tell the audience, I hope today gives you the courage to at least take one step forward towards your journey. Just one step. I always say like it's the small actionable daily steps that really yield the big results, right? I tell people Rome wasn't built in the day, so don't expect yourself the same thing, right? Like you can't just go to 150, um, because when you do that, you're not going to hit the goal. You're going to have a little self confidence again. It's just like a rabbit hole. So sometimes just taking one small step at a time is actually a lot better. Like if you want to write a book, because I know a lot of people want to write a book, give yourself a goal to write a page a day for a year straight. And by the end of that year, guess what? You'll have one big book, or you can split it into two books.
Great idea. Love those tips. All right. Sheena, you're amazing. Thank you for being with us today. And I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. I hope you found inspiration, actionable tips, and a sense of connection with our incredible community of driven women. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share the episode with fellow entrepreneurs who are ready to elevate their game. Remember, your success is just the beginning, and we're here to support you in every step of the way. Until next time, keep shining, keep thriving, and remember, you have the power to create the business and life of your dreams. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.